What's up everyone, OJ here, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be doing our top 10 best Nintendo Switch titles. Now, I have done lists like this before, but there's been a few updates to the list, and I also wanted to talk to some of the new subscribers that maybe didn't watch some of the previous videos that I've done on the best Switch games. Now, this year, the Switch is doing extremely well. We have a lot of new Switch owners that are just starting out their collections, so I wanted to go over the top 10 games in my opinion. Now, these aren't going to be necessarily in any order that I think, like from 10 to 1, but they're generally ordered in kind of how much I like them or not, but it's not in direct or exact order. That will probably be a video for another day where I go over like my top 30 or 40 and I'll put it in exact order. So we're gonna have to wait on that one. Now, before we get into the actual list here, guys, I'm gonna go over some honorable mentions. Okay, these are good games, but they didn't crack it into my top 10. So here we go on that. We have Pokemon Sword and Shield, Super Mario Maker 2, Bayonetta 1 and 2, The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, and Fire Emblem Warriors. All of those are great games, and if you're into those styles, you can look them up a little bit more and see if those are for you more. Now, let's go ahead and get into this top 10 list, and we're starting off with a game that I didn't think I'd like as much as I ended up liking because it became the most played game or from the franchise ever, and that is Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've never played an Animal Crossing game more than I played Animal Crossing New Horizons, and the charm, the amount of updates, the current stuff that they're continuing to do, the terraforming, which is just absolutely crazy, all the different items that you can do, the multiplayer, there's so many cool aspects of this game that made me play this more than what I previously played, which was Animal Crossing on the GameCube. The fact that this one has so much more stuff in there and the game looks beautiful, it plays great, there's a lot of good stuff about it, and they're continuously updating the game. I think that's the cool thing too. Plus the new Super Mario collaboration for the Mario 35th anniversary. I think that's even going to pull more people in, and this game is fast-tracked to be the best selling game on the Nintendo Switch. So number 10, we have Animal Crossing New Horizons. Next up at number 9 is Luigi's Mansion 3. This is a game that I liked maybe a bit more than I thought that I would like. I remember I reviewed it and I was thinking that it's going to be like a 7/8 for me, but it ended up being more like a 8.5 to 9 for me when it comes to the style of game, and it's a lot longer than you would expect. The single player, they took so much time to make that single player. I think I put like 20 something hours into it. Now there's a little bit of backtracking in there for some padding, but overall I thought it was a pretty beefy experience. I thought it did a really good job. It's one of the best looking games on the Nintendo Switch, runs at a great frame rate, and there's local multiplayer for your family or friends, and there's also online multiplayer as well that will challenge you depending on where you want to go with that, plus some DLC that they threw in there to kind of spice things up just a bit as well. So it's pretty crazy how much content is packed into this game. So Luigi's Mansion 3 coming in at the solid 9. Now coming in at number 8 is a game that I feel is extremely underrated, and that is Splatoon 2. This is a game that I've put hundreds of hours into. Came out right around the launch of the Nintendo Switch, and still to this day you can pick it up and play, and there's just a vast wealth of content. It's super smooth, 60 frames per second, looks good, runs good, online play is fairly solid, you can link up with your friends, have a lot of fun there, and the Splatfest competitions, while they were going on normally, were some of the best like games as a service without feeling like a game as a service that I've ever seen. I mean, you have the local horde mode, the salmon run, you have the single player experience in there as well, you have the Octo expansion if you want more of that, plus you have the online multiplayer with a bunch of modes and everything. So it's a lot of fun to play with friends and family and just get into the community and just start playing Splatoon. It's a very fun community to get into too if you're trying to play on a little bit higher level as well. A lot of cool YouTubers and content creators that create some great stuff on Splatoon. So I was thoroughly impressed and have enjoyed every bit of Splatoon 2 since it launched over 3 years ago at this point. Now, getting into number 7, we have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and I know this is a port of an older game, but the improvements and enhancements to this really took what I loved about Mario Kart 8 and made it even better. I think that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, one of the things to me that made it a lot better, at least for other people a bit too, was like the battle mode. Never been the biggest fan of it, it, but I did love how they completely revamped the battle mode, and I've had some fun going in there with the community and playing battle mode a number of times, local a little bit as well. But to me also the biggest thing was the 2 items. The 2 items really kind of changed up the strategic position of how you're playing and what's going on, because in Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U, there was only 1 item. So this time they give you 2 items so you can have a little bit better defensive positions or offensive strategies with it. It includes all of the DLC from the Wii U version of the game. It has improved resolution, of course. They fixed a little bit of the frame rate, the whole 59 frames per second thing. They cleaned it all up, and it's just a joy to play anywhere that you want. They fixed up some of the tournament stuff as well. Pretty much the best and definitive version of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and I've put way more time into it on the Nintendo Switch than I did the Wii U, and I put a lot of time into the Wii U version. So pretty cool to see what they did with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Here's to hoping that we get a Mario Kart 9 sometime in the next year or so, or at some point. Now, next up at number 6 is the Xenoblade Chronicles games. Now, I want to talk about this because this is interesting, right? Xenoblade Chronicles games. I know it's supposed to just be top 10, but we have to include all the games here. We can't just say Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition or Xenoblade Chronicles Torna, the Golden Country, or Xenoblade Chronicles 2. You have to experience the whole thing. In my opinion, after beating once again Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition and seeing how awesome that game is, the ending is phenomenal, and then playing Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and then seeing that, and then Torna, it just wraps up kind of everything. Or whether you play Xenoblade 2 first, since that came out first on the Nintendo Switch, then you play Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, whether you start off with Torna and go back the furthest that you can kind of go back, you're going to have a blast playing the Xenoblade games. I think they're a ton of fun, and Monolith Soft is known for that content. So if you're looking for a massive RPG on any fronts, the Xenoblade games on the Switch are where it's at. But speaking of where it's at, that is number 5, and we've got Astral Chain, a game, in my opinion, that is severely underrated. It is severely underrated in terms of in the player's eyes and kind of how much it sold. Yes, it did do over 1 million, but in my opinion, it should have like 3 or 4 times that. It's that good of a game from the minds of Platinum Games out there. Hideki Kamiya, Tura-san, the guy who did Nier Automata. This game has it all. It has the content, it has the action, it has the gameplay, it has the replay value, it has the smooth controls, it has the graphics, it has the music. Everything about this game is absolutely amazing. It is a joy from start to finish, and it keeps you just guessing, what am I going to unlock with this Legion? What am I going to do next with this gameplay mechanic? It's so smooth, stringing together combos and upgrading your legions and figuring out exactly how you're going to dismantle your enemies. I cannot recommend Astral Chain enough. You guys need to make sure that you play that game at number 5. But at number 4, we have a game that a lot of you guys probably already have, but if you don't, you definitely need to pick it up, and that is Super Mario Odyssey, the most expansive, potentially, game in the mainline Mario universe. There's just so many moons, there's so many areas to go to, the graphics are insane on there. They look really good. The frame rate is super fast and solid, 60 frames for the most part. You're kind of just gliding through missions. You have such vast varieties of areas to go to, from the new Donk City. There's like food looking places and all sorts of different stuff, and the ending kind of threw me for a loop as well, plus all the challenges. So whether you're looking for a brisk, nice paced Mario game, or you're looking to speed run, or you're just looking to collect-a-thon everything that you need to, Super Mario Odyssey definitely checks all of those boxes there for the quintessential Mario experience on the Nintendo Switch. Now, next up is a game that I hold very dear to my heart at number 3, and that is Fire Emblem Three Houses. This game, it's a bit deep. There's a lot of strategy. It's not the easiest, although there are easy modes so you can get through it. But if you actually play and learn the mechanics and go through all the different routes with the 3 different houses and experience the story the way that it's supposed to be experienced, it is one of the most rewarding experiences that you can have on the Switch, and one of the best bangs for your buck, considering there's 3 separate houses and the campaigns are actually pretty long. If you're going through on normal and on hard, it's definitely even going to take you a bit longer depending on what side missions you do and what you decide to do to progress your day. You have to be very smart and intelligent with what you do and train the right people, but the depth and the variety of how you can train your fighters is the best in the series. Pretty much any class can learn anything, and you can turn people into the killing machines that you want to turn them into, the defensive machines, the tanks, the healers. Everything that you need is right there to customize your Fire Emblem experience, and that's why this is my favorite Fire Emblem game of all time, along with Fire Emblem Awakening. So Fire Emblem Three Houses, another game that actually did very well. I'm hopefully getting some updated sales numbers for 3 million plus, hopefully pretty soon here, but one of the best selling Fire Emblem games and one of the best rated games of 2019. Now we're getting down to the nitty gritty here, guys. We're at number 2, and you guys already know what the deal is. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. What more can be said about this game? It is incredible. It is the most impressive collaboration crossover game in the history of gaming, in my opinion, and that's saying a lot because there's stuff like Marvel vs. Capcom 2 out there. So to me, this is the best one. You have literally icons from various different platforms, from various different decades, all duking it out on one game. Pac-Man, Sonic, Mega Man, Cloud, Snake, Mario. It's just insane the amount of variety that this game has, on top of all the different Nintendo characters and the continued support of the developers when it comes to DLC. We just got Min Min from the ARMS franchise. We have Joker from Persona. I mean, it's incredible, and it's become a phenomenon to see what's going to be next, who is going to join the fight, and how they're going to implement that character's unique moveset into Super Smash Bros. 1080p, 60 frames per second, super smooth to play, a lot of fun. And just as a side note here, the online's been rough, but they're actually making some improvements and did say that they will continue to make improvements to the online. So that was the game's weak point, and they are doing something, at least just a bit, to address it. So hopefully that continues, and once that gets straight, if they can ever get that fully better, man, Super Smash Bros. Is even going to be better than it already is. So really cool Super Smash Bros. If you want to be able to play locally online, get good at the game. There's so much hidden depth that you can find in the game. It seems simple, but you just start peeling back the layers of combat and movement and recovery, and it just gets me hooked. I have to actually stop myself from playing the game, otherwise I'm just gonna play it all day and not get any work done. So Super Smash Bros. Ultimate comes in at number 2. But at number 1, you guys know the deal. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys could guess at this point, and it's the game that pretty much started the Switch revolution, and that is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Now, not too long ago, I actually did a review of the game after 3 years, and even when I go back to it, it's such a magical experience with the open world, with the combat, with the shrines, with just everything in the game. It really does make you feel like you have this open world canvas, and you are just making your mark from going from place to place and solving this and collecting that and getting this and experiencing that and flying through the skies here and destroying enemies doing this type of weird thing and just using all these different stuff to combat the elements in addition to fighting. So to me, Breath of the Wild is one of those games that it's a 100% must own. It's like everybody that has a Switch should definitely have Legend of Zelda, especially for your inner adventurer. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody had those thoughts or those dreams of adventuring and taking off and having your sword in hand and becoming the hero, and The Legend of Zelda Link put you in those shoes. It puts you in that area, and to me, that is the best feeling. When I first played Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, it was just magical, and I knew from that point forward, I mean, I knew a little bit beforehand, but it was like cemented in my brain that the Switch is going to be a success because of this game. This game is going to drive things for the momentum into the other games, and that's exactly what happened here. And Breath of the Wild is decorated for how good it is. So awesome stuff with Breath of the Wild. So definitely make sure you guys get that game. So those are my top 10 games on the Nintendo Switch when it comes to Nintendo. Most of them were first party. This was more of a first party type of list. I'll probably do a best top 10 for third party games or stuff like that, but those were my top 10 games first party for the Switch. What are your top 10 games? I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Check out the links in the description. We've got Twitter. Go and give us a follow on there. Stay up to date on all latest gaming news and information. Also, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video if you can. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you for the next one. Peace.